Hi guys, Denise here with Create Your Future. In today's video, we are going to talk about the law of assumption. I'm going to share a client success story. We're going to talk about how the law is in play all around you all day. And most importantly, how you can change your assumptions so that you can create the future that you want for yourself. So before we get started, thanks for joining me. And if anybody is interested in signing up for coaching, the link is in the description below. We have an amazing team of coaches, and we're all here to help propel you to your next success story. All right, so starting with success stories, I had a client recently. I still have the client. She's a client that does ongoing sessions. And in one of the sessions, we started talking about a relationship between her father and her uncle that had been severed and she wanted to repair. So we looked at some of the things that had been said, some of the beliefs that had been reflected in 3D reality about their relationship. And there was a level of the father kind of being like, not the victim, but kind of being taken advantage of and not really being respected. And this came about also because I asked, there had been another circumstance that had been manifested in his life. And I asked her what her belief about that was. Her parents had been divorced, and I asked who initiated the divorce. And did it seem like he wanted to leave the marriage or like her mom wanted to leave the marriage? And she said that it was her mom, and that it just kind of seemed like her dad kind of always got like the brunt of the deal, or like wasn't really getting the things that he wanted in his life or getting the respect that he wanted, and things weren't working out for him. So we came to this underlying assumption that she didn't feel like her dad felt respected in his life, and that his relationships were not harmonious and based on respect. So we changed that assumption, came up with an intention that my dad feels respected by everyone in his reality. All of his relationships are harmonious and healthy. There was a family gathering that was a few weeks out from the session when we talked about this, and she wanted things to be healed by that time, or during that time at least, because everyone was expected to join this gathering. And she just didn't want it to be awkward and just wanted everyone to be joyous and have a great time. So we also set an intention. I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but that, you know, during this celebratory dinner, that everybody would be in harmonious relations and having a joyous time, something like that. So I didn't know that her dad's birthday was the day after our session. And at our following session, she informed me that that very next day, on her dad's birthday, the brother came. She saw his truck. Her dad wasn't at work yet. She saw his truck driving around, kind of doing loops. He was about to leave because the dad wasn't there yet. His brother wasn't there, and drove off, did a big U-turn because he saw his brother arriving at work. They got out of their trucks and he handed him a cup of coffee and said, "I'm sorry and I love you." And that relationship was healed instantly. And they had an amazing dinner and everything carried on wonderfully. So that is the law of assumption at play. That is, you know, through things that she had manifested unconsciously, not paying attention to what she was creating in her reality, manifested this belief that her dad didn't feel respected and that his relationships were severed and weren't harmonious. Shifting that assumption. And she had been doing sessions for a while on other things. So she's become really familiar and has a lot of, I guess, allowance or allowing toward creating new beliefs. She's seen it in practice for a while now. And so she's much more comfortable with just, being optimistic. Like if I just shift my thought, great, it'll work out. And it worked out instantly. She saw instant results. So that's the story that I wanted to share. Talking about law of assumption. Well, actually, I wanted to read the definition of assumption because that's always fun when we do that. So assumption, the definition is a thing that is accepted as true or as certain to happen without proof. So right there, it's telling you that if you can accept and believe something to be true, something to show up, just expecting it will happen without the proof of it, that is how you will manifest the proof. That is how you will manifest it happening. The other definition is the action of taking on power or responsibility, which also fits in with this because it comes into alignment with taking accountability as being the creator of your reality, and then applying the appropriate assumptions so that you can get the results that you want. So I thought that was worth sharing. So law of assumption is why everyone is you pushed out works. It's why it exists. It's the reason for it. It's because your assumptions 100% create your reality and create how everyone shows up in your reality. Funny story, this is probably my 9th or 13th take on this video because I clearly had an assumption that this video would be difficult for me to do today. So I was doing out of the wrong email. I was doing all, and I kept redoing it, cutting. Finally, I went and took a break, had some lunch, and started to assume that it would work out perfectly. Everything will flow. It'll be easy. Everything will work. And now here I am. I think we're going to make it through it. So yeah, law of assumption is powerful. But yeah, it's what creates how everybody shows up in your reality. And usually what happens is we have a subtle assumption based on past experiences or based on a snap judgment of a person. We don't always have a conscious thought that we think these things into existence or that we're believing these things. So we'll have a subtle assumption that's there, but we're not consciously aware of it. And as a result, something will happen in the 3D that will support that assumption. And we think, oh, this person is this way. And now we're just making it stronger. We're making it grow. So it's really important to be able to remember that your 3D reality is completely just feedback showing you what you think. It's not something that has happened around you that is just the way it is and you're here responding to it. It is 100% something that you have created in your head, and almost like you wrote the script when you weren't really paying attention. You just keep kind of going, and then things are coming out and here they are. So now is your chance to learn about expanding your consciousness and reprogramming those negative things so that you can become more aware of the assumptions that you have in your reality, and then redirect to create new assumptions so that you can create the things you want in your reality. It's a law, so it always is. It's what holds everything in place in your reality, quite literally. Like, you are holding your whole world where it is in place. You're holding the people in the roles that you're holding them because of your assumptions. I say, when I leave my car, when I park my car and get out of it, I don't ever assume that it's not going to be there. I don't have to consciously say my car will be there when I come back. My car will be there when I come back, because I don't have an assumption that it won't. So that means I'm automatically assuming it will without having to put conscious effort toward it. Now, if I had experienced a theft or damage to my car, I may then start deciding or creating, oh no, I have to worry about my car. I have to worry about my car because I manifested this experience before. So then I would have to put conscious thought toward reprogramming that belief and layering on those new thoughts of course my car is going to be there. My car is safe. I'm creating my reality. I'm going to make sure my car is where it is. So, it's important to see that you're holding everything in place with your assumptions. And most of it, I would say like 90% of it, you're doing effortlessly. You wake up in the same room every day, or when you don't, but you know where you are. These are things you assume. You're going to have lunch. You're going to have food. I always talk about food. I know you guys probably appreciate that. Your car is going to be there. You go to work. Everyone's going to show up. You have these assumptions that things are just the way they are. I have this kind of fun little, not even analogy, but like example, the first beings here on this planet didn't fear falling off of it. They didn't know gravity. That wasn't a thing. They didn't even know the planet, that, it was this circular thing out here orbiting in space. But because they didn't have a fear that they might fall off, they just assumed we're good, we're stable, we don't have to worry about this. Obviously, these weren't the thoughts they were having. But what I'm saying is, it's an energetic assumption. They just assumed that things were fine. we are here, I'm on the ground and I'm safe on the ground. And then later discovered, or manifested that it was gravity and this is why and da-da. But really, when you think about it, it's just the fact that we assumed that things were working and that this is how it is and there's no fear, there's nothing to worry about. So becoming really aware of what you're assuming in areas of your life where things aren't working out the way you want is super important so that you can change them, so that you can have the things that you want in your life and have them work out the way you want. So start asking yourself questions, start looking at what is showing up in your reality. Take a sheet of paper out and write down, relationship, finance, health, career, friendships, any of those things, and start listing. First off, looking at what you're experiencing. And if you need to write it down, then do that too. Like, what is the state of my health? What is the state of my finances? What is the state of my relationship? What's my relationship like right now? Writing out what you're experiencing, becoming aware of what you're experiencing, that shows you what you're assuming in any one of those areas of your life. So then you can go from there to replace those assumptions with new ones. Now, that's not even the work. That's the awareness. The work is continuing to think this new way over and over and over until it becomes an assumption. And it always will, but you do have to keep doing that work. There is a level of reprogramming that has to take place. You have, it's an assumption because it's solid and it's there and nothing is wavering it, nothing is questioning it. So the more you start becoming aware of your assumptions, you can then start questioning them, which that will help ease you into replacing them. Is this true? Is this fact? Or is this just something I've created in my head? That's a really good segue to get into, well, okay, maybe it's not true. Maybe it's not fact. Maybe I've made it seem like fact because I've been assuming that it is. So now I'm going to think more openly about the possibility of the opposite. And so you can kind of massage your way into the new way of thinking. It doesn't always have to be a very blunt, direct approach. For some people, that causes more resistance. Not for everybody. Some of us work very well with deliberately saying, oh no, it is this way. It is this way. It's going to be this way and it's going to show up and I know it's true. But not everyone works that way. So it's really important to become aware of what your assumptions are and what you can believe to be true in the moment to get you to change those assumptions. So you want to kind of work with your path of least resistance, what's most likely for you to work for you in changing how you feel about something. Write down fears, doubts, beliefs, insecurities, work on replacing them. If it's hard to go from I'm scared this won't work out, or I'm doubting my confidence in this area. If it's hard to go from there to I am so confident and I know everything's working out for me, then find a place in the middle of I'm becoming more and more confident in this every day. I'm seeing more evidence every day that things are working out for me. I'm feeling more comfortable in changing these thoughts, and just go slow with it. Like, give yourself the joy of at least trying to enjoy the experience along the way, and like allowing yourself the experience of growing and accepting that it may not shift that quickly. And it may not, you may not go from nothing to everything, but you can enjoy the experience of getting there and changing your beliefs and changing your assumptions. So yeah, looking at them, becoming aware of them, learning to replace them, learning the best way for you to replace them, and then persisting. And it really just takes the mental discipline of any time that old assumption comes up, whether it comes up in here or whether it's manifested out here, you need to have the discipline to shut it down and replace it with the new one. Just as soon as it starts, as soon as you become aware of it, you replace it with that new assumption, the one that you want to become your reality, and just keep doing that. Don't give up on it, persist in it, and it will show up. So I think that's my video for today. There's a couple, affirmations, really easy ones. You can just start intending that it's easy for you to change your assumptions in others, or it's easy for you to change your assumptions in your circumstances. Yeah, this is easy. You can start saying that. It may not feel it at first, but if you start saying that, you'll manifest that it is easier for you quicker. So stick with it. You deserve to have everything you want, and we're all here to help you do that. So watch the videos, take in the information, and then apply it. I guess that wraps it up. So thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Thanks for joining me. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks so much. Bye.